Welcome. In recent talkbacks, I've talked with Luba Palant about upcoming community events. I've spoken with Maddie Chaliff and Monique Schulter about our Jedi initiative, and I've previewed some of what's happening at the OFJCC coming this year in 2021. Today, I'm so excited to be talking with Josh Steinharter, our Senior Director for the JCC Maccabi Sports Camp. I am really excited about this conversation because our merger last year between the OFJCC and JCC Maccabi Sports Camp was a huge initiative and a big, big win for the entire Jewish community. And unfortunately, right now, it seems to be the best kept secret in the community. Not everyone knows that we are now merged at the hip, but this is the point of today's Talkback with Zack. So, Josh, welcome here. It's great to have you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that you put on a collared sweatshirt, at least, I put on a collared shirt for you and I shaved for you this morning. I just want you to know that,
I appreciate
Josh, it. For folks who don't know, please explain a little bit about it. I know the JCC Maccabi Sports Camp, it's the West Coast's only Jewish overnight camp focused on sports, right? It has an amazing reputation for both its approach to sports and the Jewish camp experience. And you have kids coming from as far away as where, like Washington, Colorado, Arizona. Tell us, what's JCC Maccabi Sports Camp's secret ingredient, Josh?
Zach, it's nice to be here. Appreciate the time to talk about camp and to get the word out. You've used the word secret now twice, so hopefully after today, that will no longer be the case. We don't want camp to be a secret, and we don't want what makes camp amazing to be a secret either. We're a fairly unique opportunity for kids who love sports and are looking for a meaningful Jewish experience to come to an overnight camp and find both of those things in one place. And because of that, we found ourselves very fortunate that campers are coming from a great distance to be a part of what we've created and what continues to grow. What's the secret ingredient? When I think about this, I think about what it is that makes camp unique and camp special. And I can't help but think about my personal experience, which is, there were three really strong formative influences on my growing up. One was being a part of an important and meaningful and personal Jewish community. I was lucky enough to be a part of a new synagogue where, families came together and supported each other and knew each other, and everybody felt like they were part of something important that was bigger than themselves. I was a competitive athlete growing up. I played soccer and I played baseball, and so sports were incredibly influential. And eventually I went to Jewish overnight camp, and that was just a wonderful opportunity to get away from home, to meet new people, to be independent, to grow, to become a staff person, and to learn skills that I've taken with me to today. And so those three things, Jewish community, competitive sports, and Jewish overnight camp, you bring those three things together, and that's what JCC Maccabi Sports Camp is about. And when I looked around, we just didn't see that was happening anyplace, and we needed to make sure that kids who had those loves and those values had a place to go, where they could connect with their own Jewish identity, where they could enhance their sports skills, they could play with other Jewish kids, they could learn from great coaches, they could increase their skill development, their sports IQ, their self-confidence, and they could do it in a place that was a supportive community that cared about them, that they got to be a part of something that was bigger than themselves, not just in a sports team sense, but a community sense. It was infused with Jewish values. Look, sports are great because they help kids to get outside and exercise and to be physical. But in the end, it's really a platform for life lessons and for values. And that's what camp is about too. And so while we'd love to think that we're creating a bunch of Division I athletes, we'd much prefer to focus on creating Division I human beings who are going to go off to be in the world and take the lessons they learn from camp and from sports and into how they navigate the challenges of the world that are out there in front of them.
I love that. We're going to use that as a catchphrase, creating Division I mensches. I think it's a great tagline.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to your story, Josh, because I actually want to hear more about where you grew up and what camp you went to and whether you really were about soccer and baseball or not. But before we go to you, I want to spend a little bit more time on camp itself, because I know that a lot of people, when they hear the term sports camp, they sometimes think about these hyper-competitive drill camps, right? And Maccabi Sports Camp definitely takes the sports very seriously. I know your counselors are top-notch athletes, but when I talk to the JCC Maccabi families, a lot of them talk about how the camp has changed their children's lives, as little mensches, like you say. So tell us a story about how that has been, what you really have had the greatest impact on and what that's meant to you and your kids.
Yeah, look, I think camp brings out a lot of different realities for different kids, and that's what's great about it, is that it's a personal experience, and that different kids get different things, and sometimes those great stories are about somebody making their varsity tennis or basketball team, and sometimes it's about a kid who's got a renewed interest in going to Hebrew school and being further connected to his synagogue, and sometimes it really is just about those things in life, right? And so when I think about success stories, one of the first ones I go to is an email I got from a parent a few years ago. Her camper came home from their first summer at our camp. He had been there for 2 sessions. And mom was sending an email to tell us what a great experience it was, and how many friends he made and how much better he was at basketball. But the point of her email was to tell me that she had done her son's laundry and she had gotten distracted and gone off to do something else. And when she came into his room to put it away, he had folded his laundry and put his laundry away. And for her, camp was a huge success, right? Something so simple that this kid had some independence, that he had learned to take care of himself, that he knew that he now had a responsibility to help himself, to help his mom, to help his family. When I hear things like that, again, like, it's not sports and it may not be Jewish, but it's something that just embeds in a child the importance of taking responsibility, doing things for themselves, contributing to the greater good, whether that's at your house or that's in your synagogue or that's in your team, whatever it may be. I also think about, just emails I've gotten from families or phone calls where they tell me that their kid has this sense of wonder that I can do anything now, right? And I did get an email from a family who said, my kid was just smiling so big when I said, why do you love camp? And they said, because I feel I can do anything. And I think that comes from going to camp, the simple act of taking the risk and going and being away from home, which is hard for a lot of kids. It comes from stepping onto a field and learning from a new coach and pushing yourself and challenging yourself to try and do something new. And then, I get emails from families who have shared with me the anecdote of kids coming home and crying, right? We hear about kids being homesick, but when you hear about kids being camp sick, they get home and they miss camp, they miss their friends. And I had one parent who said that their kid said to me, that was the best thing I've ever done. Right. And that kid has just keeps coming back year after year because they feel connected. They have friends. They have counselors that care about them. And so those are the things that I think that are coming from a robust sports experience. And again, a meaningful Jewish experience. But it's again, the life lessons that kids are taking with them.
I love that. Great story. And another great pitch for the parents out there who want their kids to come home making their own bed, folding their own clothes, busting their own dishes. It's also about that as well. Yeah. Josh, look, I know that our 2 organizations, the OFJCC and JCC Maccabi Sports Camp, we merged just in time for last camp season, 2020. And of course, then COVID hit. And it was heartbreaking for all of us. We had to pull the plug. Tell me, what did it mean for you, for your campers and your staff last year to not be able to host camp?
It was hard. It was hard. Like, there's no doubt about it, Zach. It was one of the most difficult decisions that I've had to make. Unfortunately, we talk about camp being about community and about trying to teach campers that they have a larger group of people they can lean on in difficult situations. That came about in this situation as well, being able to lean on the leadership at the OFJCC and some lay leaders and our board and our camp committee and a medical advisory group to really think about, can we have camp and can we do it in a health and safe way, and can it be the experience we want it to be? And in the end, we felt that we couldn't. And it was a hard decision, but it was made easier by having that support and by knowing it was the right decision, knowing that it was not going to be the safest thing to try to bring kids to camp last summer. It was new. We didn't have a lot of information. We weren't sure what the rules of engagement were. We didn't think that we were prepared to have camp. And so it was a hard decision. It was a hard message to deliver to our families and to our campers. But again, made easier by the fact that we knew it was right, and then made significantly easier by the outpouring of love and support that we received from our families and from our campers. And this wasn't just parents reaching out to say thank you, or we understand, or we get it, which we got a lot of that. We got a lot of, like, we're bummed. We're not happy to hear this, but we understand and we appreciate you thinking about it. But Zach, we got videos sent to us by campers and staff. A couple of staff helped to rally the troops and put together a really beautiful video compilation of campers saying to me and to Eitan, the camp director who helped us to make the decision that we were canceling, thank you for thinking about us, and thank you for caring about us so much to make this decision to cancel camp. And when you have kids saying, we believe in you and we support you and we understand this, while also saying how important camp is to them. Like, it went a long way. It really told us that camp is something special and that these kids are getting it and that they're understanding what the lessons are that are coming from camp that extend well beyond the sports field and well beyond the summer months, to dealing with difficult things that are put in front of them. And if we can, again, teach kids to not just fold their laundry, but deal with adversity and have some perspective, right? That's what we're looking to do. And so it was heartwarming to get these messages of campers saying, I've learned so much from camp and I lean on it so much, and I have my friends that are going to help me get through this. And thank you for caring for us and for making the tough decision to cancel camp.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, but you did do a number of things virtually as well. You got some great videos that you said that you got back from families, but you also created a cool video. I remember seeing the one with the toilet paper bouncing back and forth between kids, but you guys also did some sort of virtual internship as well, didn't you, Josh?
We did. We had to make the decision of what the summer was going to look like virtually. And we realized early on, like, we feel like we're pretty good at putting camp on in person, but we weren't really sure what virtual camp looked like. And we didn't want to try to create something that was going to be less than or was going to be a subpar replacement. And so we did a few things. We had a weekly TV show on Facebook, and we put some workout videos for campers to stay fresh and to be working on their skills at home. I think the biggest thing that we did, two big things that we did. One was a teen internship, a fellowship in sports leadership, where teenagers got to come together and to learn from leaders and talk about leadership and to plan and put together our Maccabi Cup. We did a virtual version of our color war. And so we had a group of teenagers who came together and through Zoom and through leaning on each other, put together a program for our camp. And that was awesome. And the other thing was just setting up some space and time for our campers to come and hang out with the counselors that they love, just being on Zoom and talking. It wasn't really structured other than to say, here's a place to come and talk with your friends and hang out. And I think that was really valuable, just to give people a place to be. A lot of our kids were really over-programmed last summer. They had so many options that we didn't want to overwhelm them with too many new things, but we wanted to give them an opportunity to be connected in a meaningful way. And so I think that was successful for us.
I think it was. I felt it very personally. I have a nephew and a niece that are both campers at JCC Maccabi Sports Camp who really missed it last year. And so I know you're excited to get back in the swing of things for this summer. Tell us a little bit about what steps you're going to be taking to keep campers and counselors safe this year. Tell us about what it looks like while the vaccines are being rolled out. What are your plans for this summer, Josh?
Yeah. So first, Zach, our plan is to have camp. We're really excited about having camp. We're really optimistic about the possibility of having camp the way we want to have camp, but under the reality of COVID and what that means to be safe. And so there's a couple of things that we've done. We continue to work very closely with a medical advisory board. We keep an eye on all of the new information that's coming out from the CDC, the American Camping Association. We're learning from camps who ran last summer. We've got a great collaborative network with other camps in the Bay Area to talk about what kind of practices they're taking and how they're preparing for camp. Specifically, we've done a couple things. We've moved from 3 2-week sessions to 2 sessions of longer length. So we have fewer entry points for campers, and campers are going to be at camp for a longer time to really ensure health and safety. We've extended our staff week so that our staff are all going to be at camp for a longer period of time so that they're healthy and safe and all testing negative before campers get there. We're looking at our daily schedule in a different way to look at how campers can really travel through the day in safe cohorts so that there's not a lot of crossover between groups. And we're going to implement all of the safety protocols that we're seeing in people's everyday lives: masks, outdoor distancing, hand washing, hand sanitizer, and robust testing. And you mentioned vaccines, right? Vaccines are something that when we started this conversation, weren't really sure we could count on, but there's been incredible advancement of the vaccine situation in the last few months. And it looks like there will be a large number of staff that will be vaccinated. We're not really sure how many or what the percentage will be, but we're hearing more and more from staff who are getting it because they work with kids or they work as teachers during the year. And so they're already on the list to get it, or many have already received it. But really just continuing to learn and to be educated. We've got more time, we've got more resources, we've got more access to information. And so by implementing just, not 1 or 2 strategies, but as many different strategies, and being thoughtful about, how you take these protocols, which exist, put out by these organizations, and applying them very specifically to our camp and our program and our physical space, and what needs to be done to make sure that campers and staff are going to be healthy and have a safe camp. So we're feeling really good about that.
I feel like in many ways, Jewish overnight camp, specifically our, JCC Maccabi Sports Camp, can be one of the healthiest and safest ways to experience the summer, because you're basically creating a pod and you're sticking together, and you're not going back home and back to camp, you're just basically sticking together. So I really appreciate that you're putting thought and effort into this, Josh. Listen, I also understand you got other big news. You've just hired a new assistant director. Tell us his story. Tell us what you think he's going to bring to the Maccabi camp experience this summer.
Yeah, we're very excited to bring Joel Swedlove to camp. Joel is our new assistant director. We were, quite fortunate to have a really talented previous associate director and then camp director Eitan Grobart, and sad to see him go. He's moving on to be the executive director of a new camp. But we're really pumped to bring Joel in. Joel has been a part of our camp culture since the very beginning. I was lucky enough to meet Joel many years ago, one of the very first camper recruitment events. I didn't recruit a single camper the day that I met Joel, but I did meet Joel, and he came to camp our first 2 summers as a basketball coach and as a program director, and has been involved in Jewish camping his entire life. He is a high-level Jewish professional who just loves camp. He's a talented song leader. He is gifted and eloquent at leading, some of the Jewish aspects of camp, Shabbat and Havdalah, and integrating values in our program. And he's just a really great guy. He's got a great personality. He's super outgoing and friendly, and has spent his life around Jewish overnight camp, and has long dreamed of being in a position where he could help shape a camp. And he's got deep passion and love for our camp, and we're excited for him to join our staff. It's going to be a great new adventure and a great new chapter for camp.
That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to him being there too. It's great that you were able to find someone else who's just a song leader, plays the guitar, because I know that was something that Eitan brought to the table as well. Josh, we only have a few more minutes here, but I got to ask you, what's that big trophy over your shoulder? What is that somebody else's trophy? Because I can't imagine you actually have a trophy that you won that's that big. But, maybe I'm wrong. So tell me, what is it?
You questioned my sports skills earlier, my days on the baseball diamond as a baseball player. I could win this trophy, Zach. This is the Maccabi Cup. This is the Maccabi Cup. This is, what is given out to the winner of our the Maccabi Cup, which is our color war. We hold it each session at camp, blue versus green. As a sports camp, competition is important, the opportunity to compete. And so we have a pretty intense competition that results in handing this trophy over to the champion of that session. Their names are etched on the trophy here.
Look at that. So, that's for posterity. There will always be there.
I'm here just like the Stanley Cup. It's become a really important part of our culture and important part of our camp. A lot of camps have the color war, and it's traditionally the one time where they do competitive sports. For us, it's almost a departure from competitive sports. We do things kind of silly and goofy. We get an opportunity to mix in some arts and some creativity in different ways. But a fun day and a half at our camp where blue squares off against green. Campers take it very seriously. If you ask a camper who's been to camp a few summers, they will tell you their record in the Maccabi Cup, how many times they've won, how many times they've lost. So it's an important part of what we do. And that's what our teens did over the summer to help create a virtual Maccabi Cup where we were able to crown a champion this past summer as well.
Well, you guys do swag really, really well. So I'm not surprised you have this great Maccabi Cup. You have great T-shirts and sweatshirts and, big finger puppets, as I see behind you. You have so many fun things that the kids love to come home with, and they wear proudly their JCC Maccabi Sports Camp logos all over. So what do you have in store for this summer? You have any thoughts about what the swag's going to look like?
We just started thinking about it. One of the ways that Joel has actually been involved in camp is helping to create and design some of that swag over the years. So he actually just texted me an initial design, something we're thinking about for the summer. So too early to say, although we are hoping to be launching a pop-up store soon where campers can go online and buy some swag that isn't normally handed out at camp. So, things like the coveted 3rd-year hoodie and the 5-year fleece, you won't be able to buy those other than to come to camp year after year. But there will be some new items that campers will hopefully be able to pick up so they can be decked out before they come to camp. We want campers to wear their Maccabi swag with pride, and they always have. And we like to give it out and spread the word around.
Well, I still keep in my trunk of my car my bleacher seat, because when my kids who have played on their school soccer teams and I got to sit on those cold bleachers, that JCC Maccabi Sports Camp bleacher seat has been really helpful. Well, Josh, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been great to spend a little bit of time with you. Of course, I can't wait to see you in person again, give you a big hug, but virtually we'll have to do for now. I'm thrilled that the JCC Maccabi Sports Camp is returning this summer, and I'm just really proud that it's a part of the OFJCC community. But it's really a sports camp for the entire West Coast, for all the JCCs in the Bay Area, but for kids who can come from anywhere, as you know. So I encourage anyone who's interested in learning more about the JCC Maccabi Sports Camp to check it out online. You can go to MaccabiSportsCamp.org. or you can follow the link straight from our PaloAltoJCC.org website. But check it out. It's something really, really special. You have great leadership in Josh Steinharter and now Joel. And thanks so much, all of you, for watching. Thanks again, Josh. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Zach.
Take care. Bye-bye.